Anya, I'm going to start with you. You had a really great and big announcement for Carnival, partnering with Adidas to release a new sneakers for the Carnival season. You want to tell me a bit more about this and how this entire thing happened?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and happy Carnival. So what it was is a collaboration between Adidas and myself through an organization, or a school rather, called SEED, which is an experiential education program partnered with Adidas. And what they do is they train small cohorts of young women of color who reside in the US primarily, and they train them in a way that helps them to understand the business of what the footwear industry requires from a design perspective. So they're actually learning how to develop footwear and apparel direct to the shelf, which I think is an extraordinary model. And I was very privileged to support this particular collection as a consultant, as a mentor, and as a, I guess, expert in the field of fashion as it pertains to Carnival in particular. That bridge, which I think is what helps commercialize Carnival beyond the actual festival. So in many ways, this has been a project that really speaks to a lot of what I care about. One, of course, fashion. Two, Carnival. Three, how does Carnival reach the world in new and different ways, but also supporting young women and how they get to participate in a program that is quite extraordinary, because they graduate to actual employment at Adidas. It's really designed to bring them into the model of working in the industry. And of course, you'd imagine that young women of color representation in the footwear global industry is quite small. And so therefore, in many ways, it ticks a lot of boxes for me professionally.
Great. You know, when we saw in the newsroom that this happened, obviously, everybody was like, Anya does it again. You know, you never stopped since winning Project Runway. But I'll get back to you. Yes. And Jadel, you also have a big announcement which you made recently, your recent collaboration with Love and Hip Hop star, Carly Red.
Yes, definitely. Yes, that is doing really good. And the song is called Messy, and it landed #1 on iTunes recently. You know, I've landed 3 collabs this year. One with Charlie Black, that's an international dancehall artist. The 3rd largest streaming dancehall artist. One with Carly Red and one with the Waterlord, Iowa George. You know, and the one with Charlie Black, which is called Addictive, just made its place on PT. VH1 and MTV, which is playing right now, doing really good in views. And it's one of the songs that's outstanding for 2024. You know, all have music videos, so everybody is checking it out. Yeah.
And as I said before, both women, your aim is to literally promote Trinidad and Tobago both locally and internationally. Anya, you are doing so many other things. I also saw some fashion collaboration recently. I can't remember the name of it, but can you tell us what's the latest in terms of that? Since winning Project Runway, you know, what has been your field like in terms of the fashion industry?
So yes, I have definitely veered slightly, you know, not necessarily away, but around the traditional route of fashion. After winning Runway, I did pursue having my clothing line, and very much inspired by what I won with that resort wear, very flowy. That was what I became known for. And I did that for quite a few years. And I think a combination of reasons, I started to realize that I wanted to root my design work in social impact. And I wanted to merge my love for doing work that builds community, that has a ripple effect beyond my actual core work. And so eventually that has evolved into my relatively recent launch of an organization called Spool. We're a social enterprise, so we're not necessarily an NGO, but essentially what we do is we train women who are at risk to be able to produce both the fashion and Carnival industries. We have a very, really strong, powerful partnership with the IDB. So we've trained up to now 63 women from both the Venezuelan population and the local population. And we are set to train 100 women by April. And that body of women then goes on to actually be employed either by us at Spool or by the variety of different businesses and independent forms of income that they pursue, now having these skill sets. So that's been really, really powerful. And as a result of this carnival, we're starting to see a lot of opportunity for collaboration, as you mentioned. Most recently, I collaborated with Melissa Simon Hartman, who's an incredibly talented designer lives in UK, but is of both Ghanaian and Trinidadian descent. She's designed for Beyonce. I mean, she has an incredible career. And I think out of that type of collaboration, which we did with Caribbean Lookbook, there will be more merging of my fashion and carnival background into like the way in which we impact communities.
All right. Jadel, when it comes to entertainment, you're known as one of the most toured soca artists from Trinidad and Tobago. Tell me, how did you get this title?
Straight from last 2 years, right after COVID, I had the song Up in the Party, dominating 2 rhythms as like, I did a collab, not a collab, I was on the rhythm with Skinny Fabulous, Ian Lyons, Patrice Roberts, Nadia Batson. These were all big artists, and I'm like the upcoming one that actually dominated both rhythms. So seeing that was very impressive. And I had 2 songs that year, Up in the Party and Yuh Man. And based on that, I don't know, it was the performances. I don't know what was the song, but did really good. So I just started getting international bookings, like I'm talking about every weekend from as Carnival ended, every single weekend I was out. So I'll be one country in Friday, one country Saturday, one country Sunday, and so it go until December and until the next Carnival came about. So I was deemed, they used to announce it whenever I go on stage, one of the most booked, because they were like, you're everywhere, you're like sold, right? I'm just grateful for the blessings. Whatever I'm bringing and contributing to the table, to me is different from a lot of artists. I'm able to stand out and show my own versatility and identity based on my performances, the way I dress, mannerism on stage. You know, I'm not just the hand in the air, jump and run about. I will bring something like, you know, the little sex appeal here, the little dress code here, the colored hair. I was very loud on stage and loud in like looks, you know, standing out, and the whining, as I love to see, you know. That will just make me stand out differently, and they want something different on the stage. And my songs demonstrated that type of performance. And Shake Up Your Body Girl, that was the next one, followed by Up in the Party and Yuh Man. So every song had its own different style. One for the crowd, the wild crowd, one for the controversy, which is the Adore Yuh Man. That is something that a lot of females could relate to, a lot of favorites. Shake Up, that generates a performance. So you come out with your dancers and everybody take out the phone and they're looking, waiting patiently for you to do that shake. That is something that is different that no other artist was doing. So straight from a successful year, Up in the Party, Yuh Man, went straight to Shake Up, and then went straight to 3 collaborations, big collaborations. So I guess it's only up from there, but I have been touring a lot. I've been places like Soca in Japan, Singapore, Belgium, Toronto, England, different states in America, different countries in the Caribbean, and I've been going nonstop. So I'm just here to take soca worldwide. That is the main goal.
I'm going to ask you both about how you do it later in the interview. But, you know, one of the things that it's in my mind right now, how much clothes do you have for all these events that you have to go to?
As a female artist, it's really tough, I must say, because you cannot repeat certain outfits. You is one way because you're all over the world with on the blogs and taking pictures with fans all over. So you have to one way. You have to hit some one way. It's tough, but if you're making the money, you know, you always budget it like for each show. An outfit comes out of each pay, and that's how it is. Your closet, you need a walk-in closet, because sometimes if you spend so much money on this outfit and you love it, it's so hard to depart from it, and you want to like wear it again, but you just can't. So what I would do is probably mix and match the year after, you know, when nobody could really tell, just to be, you know, you have to know what you're doing and save money as much as possible.
Do you have the same issue? I mean, you first apart from being on the social light scene, because I think that's how I know you from way back in the day, we wouldn't give away our age, you know, seeing you at various events and stuff. The first time I really knew who Anya Ayoung-Chee was when you entered the Miss Trinidad and Tobago pageant.
Right.
And I'm assuming that's the same kind of thing you would have had to go through.
Yes.
Getting all these clothing and stuff. Do you still do that? Wear the same outfit once?
No. I mean, I think it's definitely a different set of requirements when you're performing. And I that's part of your whole persona, your whole brand. In my case now, as a designer and a business person, like, I think it has more to do with, you know, being strategic about, like, luckily for me, I have very distinct ways in which I show up in life. So, like, they're boardroom situations, they're, you know, more like, you know, being the brand of myself, and then there's me as a designer, and then there's me as a mom, right? Because now I have 2 kids. So I think I try to segment those things while still showing up as myself. That's been my new challenge. Yeah. How do I show up in a boardroom still the authentic Anya, you know? And it's its own challenge. So, but I try my best. I mean, a lot of what we're doing at school has to do with sustainability. A lot of sustainability has to do with, you know, caring for the environment, and therefore I try to establish as much of that myself in how I wear what I wear, and I do my absolute best to mix and match, you know, as you're saying, because, you know, wastefulness, no matter the need, is something that really has an impact on the environment. So I do my best, but I also have a different set of needs. I think it's changed a lot. The days of Miss Universe, your wardrobe is a huge part of your work, and every single performance or every single appearance requires a different way that you're showing up. So so the wardrobe was something that was part and parcel of the experience. I learned how to pack incredibly well. I learned how to pre-plan outfits from head to toe. I still know how to do that. So I pack extremely intricately. But that's really how I apply it now more than ever, more than in the past.
So Anya would have brought up something there, you know, the fact that she's a mom and she has the balance thing. And I know you're doing the same thing. You do have a daughter. How do you do that? How do you balance being a mom and having an extensive touring career?
My daughter is my biggest motivation, of course. So everything I'm doing is for her. So I definitely have to be around her to motivate me more, and that's, you know, that's your love. I hired a live-in babysitter. I had no choice but to do it, because not every time you could actually hire a babysitter each time you have to go out. So a live-in babysitter is the way I'm able to do things and juggle and balance off motherhood and stuff. So, I mean, to get her ready for school, to be cooking 3 square meals daily. I don't have that family backing. So I must say my sister, she loves her. And she's helped me a great deal. And I always take my daughter with me on tour when school time is over. When in June, she comes New York to me. I'm always traveling, yes, but I will try and take her where I can during the vacation time. So we always have that bond. And a lot of fans love to see the mother and daughter, because I always love to dress her in matching outfits and make her part of the whole, you know. So whenever I go carnival, they'll be like, how's your lovely daughter? How is she? She's so beautiful, she's so cute. So I definitely gained a lot of female support and female fans based on her and my involvement, you know, and showing that I can make it work despite people saying otherwise. When it is I was in the industry, they were like, oh, you're pregnant, you know, your career will be over. I was like, I want to show that that's not the case. Doors opened for me more when I met her, and because I have the drive, whereas I would be lackadaisical, you know, probably turn down 2 gigs and say, I don't need to do it, I'm sleepy. I'm not doing that now. You're grinding and you're going forth and you're taking as much gigs as possible, because you have this child to see about, a future to create, her school, you want her to go to the best schools. Everything is surrounding her, you know. So I juggle it. To me, I'm doing quite a fairly good job. Yeah.
And Anya, I'm going to ask you the same question, because you have all these projects happening, and now you have 2 children who you have to, you know, be there for 24/7. Yeah. How do you make it work?
Well, I'll be lying to say that I have it figured out. It's daily navigation of what's priority, and even though I know obviously what is the priority and they do come first 1000%, it's a moment to moment navigation. That's the best way I can explain it. I do, like, you know, like Jadel, I have the support that I've had to build capacity for, and I'm very, very grateful for that. I know that is not a privilege that a lot of women have, and I do wish that there were more ways that women had that kind of support, because we are expected to basically, regardless of, you know, who's doing what, like, it does almost always come down to the mother. And I just think that, you know, I mostly have to say that my husband is incredibly involved, and without that, I do not know how I would do it. He has been a tremendous amount of investment in our kids and how they are raised and what is required, because as you know, I mean, it's a day-to-day exercise. So it's that, and it's being better, getting better and better at my time management, getting better at blocking. I mean, literally block times in my calendar that are for family time, and that's what it's for, you know. It takes discipline to do that. It takes discipline to turn off work and turn on another kind of work. But you know, it's taken me a while. In the first few years, I was not very good at it. I worked and worked and worked through my second pregnancy, through the pandemic. I didn't stop, but it took its toll. It took its toll on me. It took its toll on them. It took its toll on our sort of, you know, family structure. And I had to really step back and acknowledge, like, it's on me to make a different choice. And it does also compromise some of how my productivity is in my work, and that's just a reality as well. I think it's surrendering to the fact that I'm human, and I have to trust that as much as I can do is as much as I can do.
I guess it's about making choice, trying to strike that balance, and also sacrificing. And it's sometimes very, I hear you there. Yeah. Trying to figure out, do I work?
in every moment, you know, like, do I put this down and do this instead? Yeah. But yes, I can't underscore the help more. And also, again, like, having partnership with my husband in a way that truly supports me.
Yeah, I feel you there. You know, sometimes I feel to run away. Because I have 4, you have 2, I have 4, and twin boys who are 3.
Oh my God.
So it's really, as a woman, very difficult to keep doing what you're doing professionally.
Yep.
And then you literally, when you go home, it's another professional job.
100%.
People think it's not, but it is, because you have to have that science down packed. And if you don't, then I think we'll be all screaming at the end of the day. Jadel, let's go back into, you know, your songs for this carnival. How has Carnival 2024 been for you?
Has been great, I must say. I've been booked because there's a short season and everybody's complaining and crying that it's not going good for them. The sales and the events, a lot of events are being postponed. They're not booking a lot of bands as they used to. And I must say I'm doing quite well for a lot of big artists that is not prominent in the shows, and it's like, I have to thank my lucky stars, right? Based on the amount of releases, I release songs to appease different markets. So I try to not do 1 or 2 songs just for the fets. I'm doing songs where people could drive, wind on. Not everybody is on the hype and the fast pace. They want slow groove. Some of them love the singing me. You know, when I show vocal ability, some would like the dance factor. Some would like the drama, you know, the about men doing whatever, relatable stuff, you know, the kicks, the funny ones. So I have like about 10 songs this year. I'm coming out with an album.
Is it going to be your first album?
No, it's going to be my second.
Okay.
I'm going to be releasing it in April, and it's been doing well. So a lot of people would be like, why is she getting so much of bookings? Why is she getting so much of international bookings? And it's because my strategy about releasing songs that appease masses, there's certain promoters that would just love one particular song from you, and they're gonna book. Then that next promoter wouldn't like that song, but they would like the next song. And
yeah,
it has been doing well. Has been doing well. All play across the board. You know, I would just push one more just because I would think that the parties would generate more hype, and sometimes we only really want to hear the grooviness. I have a song called Calypso, which is more for the corporate side and the government and showing patriotism. I definitely wanted to show my love for my country based on me traveling all over the world, and I see Trinis coming together with their flags, and I see how the love and support it is with me. So I have to like give back, and that was something that was long overdue, and the overwhelming support with that song Calypso is amazing. I never thought I would receive it like that. I was assuming they would love more of the wine and jam style
Party
from
hits,
me.
yeah.
So I have gained a lot of fan base based on the versatility that I'm showing. So a certain song may not play in Trinidad, but it will be huge in St. Vincent. And that next song that's doing a little okay in Trinidad on the radios, I'm talking about, be huge in England. So that is the reason why I'm so very much booked. There's a lot of controversy and talk going on social media where they say, why is artists releasing so much songs for Carnival? They don't expect all their songs to play on radio. I'm not doing all these songs to play on radio. I am doing it to gain my fan base and to appease the masses, you know. And a lot of people will be tuning in. They would ask, why is he releasing it during Carnival time? Why you don't release it across the board after the season? Everybody's tuned in to Trinidad Carnival and their releases with the hype of Carnival. So that is the reason why I would release so much songs in Carnival, because it's getting the traction. They would tune in more as opposed to after Carnival where there's dancehall and R&B. They're not really focused on soca music, right? So I'm getting a lot of good views. You know, I think Addictive is 500,000 views in 1 month, which is really good for a soca song. As I say, just about taking soca worldwide, appeasing the masses, getting fan base and staying consistent and growing every year. Small strides. I'm not like expecting this big drop 1 year and this big rise the next year.
Yeah.
You know, just being afloat and gaining my fans like organically.
It's good that you have a plan, because I do think a lot of people release music and think it's going to be played in the carnival season, and when it's not played, then you hear the complaints that it's not played. And speaking about social media and shares, Anya, when the news came out that the sneaker was being launched, I think the internet went crazy. What has the feedback been like from Trinidad and Tobago and also the diaspora, which I know would be going to, they probably already purchased their pair online.
Yes, they are lucky because they got shipping overnight, you know. So then by the time I actually posted the first few times, people were already posting that they had gotten it, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's been extraordinary. I've been working on this project for 18 months. And so to finally be able to talk about it in this way has been just exciting. And, you know, what's sort of not being said yet is that one pair of shoes, the Forum Lows mids, were they're one in a whole collection. So after the Forum mids were launched, the Forum Lows were launched, and then slides. But their style, their men's styles, their youth styles, there's apparel, there's accessories. So it's going to keep releasing over the year. And it's very exciting to see something that represents our culture in this, again, commercialized way. But I was very, very, I was very passionate in my mentorship to ensure that the young ladies understood the origin story of Carnival, that Carnival really was born out of a liberated and emancipated people who have fought for our Carnival, you know, and that a lot of times the commercialization of Carnival actually removes a lot of that story. So if you look at the tongue of the shoes, you see 1838, which is the year of the emancipation, and it's very much about taking that story to the forefront as opposed to what we tend to see, you know. I'm very passionate about that. And so for me, actually, beyond the story of the shoes and my collaboration, and of course it was a huge, very, to me, unexpected amount of response, it was also that part of the Carnival story was being picked up on. And I hope that continues to be picked up on. And I hope that it has lots of waves beyond the shoes themselves.
You know, you may be doing different things, but it's all connected.
Yes.
And I think one day Jadel might be wearing your shoe during a performance.
It would be a pleasure. It would be a pleasure.
So. Yeah. So as we wrap up, we just have a few more minutes. I want to focus a bit more on you personally. What do you do, Jadel, during your spare time, apart from being with your baby girl?
My spare time is definitely for writing. I have no spare time at all, but because I'm so always occupied, I'm always doing something. If it's not editing a video, sorting out the pictures for performances, because remember, as soon as Carnival is over, there's no spare time. I'm outside, right? So I'm always doing something. If it's trying to set what I'm wearing for this show, but I would try my best to get a spare time to write, because I'm also a songwriter. I write the majority of my songs, also for other artists. So I'm always studying, how do I get this hit? I don't know why, I'm just into this music a lot, so I go heavy and full-fledged. So if I believe I'm sitting home watching a movie, I'll be, I could be writing a song, you know, I'm wasting time. But I have to do proper time management for myself, because I still need to have a life. I still need to have a social life. I still want to go to the beach. Even times when I go to the beach, it's all about work, because I'm taking content. I'm doing a TikTok. I'm doing a reel. It's still work. I just want to get time management where I'm able to enjoy life, and it's not just about work, you know. So I really, and you said apart from my daughter, but every single time or moment I get spare, she's on top of me. And if we're watching a movie, I'm going to be watching a movie with her. I'm going to be taking her to the park, to the water parks, Disney World, as I land, when she's based in New York, as I land, I'll be sleepless nights, 3 nights of no sleep, because sometimes it will be an event today. And as I finish the event, I'm rushing to go to the airport to meet another event in the night, in another state. And I will try to get a little sleep in the plane, but if there's a deadline to write a song, I have to be doing that. And as soon as I land, I take her to the park, or I take her out, because that's my pride and joy. I'll feel so guilty not doing that, you know. So it's all about balancing and sacrificing. But if in my spare time, she's gonna be with me, and I'm gonna be watching a little Frozen with her, over the Lion King. You know, she brings me joy and motivation. So that's what I do in my spare time, or cooking. Yeah, yeah.
And Anya, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to a lot of different contexts, but certainly I don't know what spare time is anymore. I think
Exactly.
Prior to having kids, I definitely look back on that and I think, well, what was I doing all that time? I had so much time.
Yeah.
Now it really is genuinely maximizing the time with them. And this year in particular, I've really made an effort to maximize whatever, like nothing is perfect. I've thrown that out the window. Having this perfect routine where things go exactly as planned does not work. But if I could squeeze 10 minutes in to meditate, I take it. Even if it's in the car, even if it's when I'm doing my hair, I close my eyes. It's just the only way, you know. And I would not necessarily term it spare time, but I would term it time that I prioritize myself. And I know that sounds so cliche. That's what everybody's talking about, is self-care and wellness. But I've experienced the difference in prioritizing my time for me, which may not necessarily be relaxing, but it's certainly rejuvenating. And it really is just squeezing it in. Again, with my calendar, I have 10 minutes of meditation in my calendar. As much of a sliver as it is, it's there. An hour to just get dressed, you know, like those little things are my spare time, and I try to be as intentional about it as I can. And I've just stopped drinking, and that has actually given me a lot more time that I did not have, to be honest. Time that's clearer in my brain, time that I feel like a lot more creative capacity than I had when I was, you know, just like we all do socially, consistently drinking for whatever reason. It's just the norm. But cutting that out of my life has given me more, not necessarily more time, but more ability to maximize the time that I do have. So I still crave some alone time. I'm sure my husband does too, but it is what it is, you know. I mean, this is the life we've chosen. We're very, very privileged to have kids. And so therefore, you know, it's really finding the joy in that new way of experiencing leisure with them, like Jadel is saying.
Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us and, you know, sharing so much with us and our viewers. Thank you, Anya. Thank you, Jadel.
Thank you for having me.
That's it for us on Soca Hive. Have a good afternoon.
Soca Hive, Brought to you by Standards, The Hive Collection, Sequins, and CNC3.
I feel like I'm running tongue again. Jump and shake the ground again.